Hi guys, Brixter here, and welcome to Build with Brixter the second. Um, Glad to see you all here. So today we'll be building more spaceships again. And we're going to be shaking it up quite a bit though. But before we get to that, for those of you who are new here, let's just really quickly go over like how this works. Hey Eli, welcome. So today you guys have the opportunity to build along with me. So grab your bricks because I'll be giving you tips as we go so that you guys can build your own spaceships too. Welcome, Aiden. So at any point, feel free to ask questions. I'll be trying to watch the chat. Balin. I'll be watching the chat. I'll be trying to answer your questions. When it comes to the chat, please try to keep it PG. Welcome, Nolan. Awesome. Thank you. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm thinking of doing this for probably about an hour. We'll see how long it takes. So last time, like I said earlier, we built spaceships as well, and I built this ship right here. So it was a lot of fun, and again, it took about an hour. Now today we'll be shaking it up a lot though. From that, I'll be rather than building like a one-person ship like that, I'm going to be trying to create a ship for multiple minifigures. So I'm going to be using this large cockpit piece here, and it's 6 studs wide, so it could potentially fit 4 minifigures. I was originally thinking of just doing 2, but actually, let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you think I should just stick with 2, or do you think I should try for 4 minifigures? 4 minifigure cockpit. What do you guys think? 3 minifigures. That's an interesting idea. All right, so okay, I'm going to try to do 3 or 4. We'll see how it goes. I might have to only do 2, but we'll be trying for 4. So I'm going to be building here. I already picked out some pieces here. As you can see, I've got black and lime green as my main 2 colors. I've got some more bins here with more pieces as well, but I'm going to be mostly building in black and lime green, some gray highlights and mechanical bits. So to get us started off, I'm going to be building this cockpit here. Now I've got some ideas about how this might look, but I'm going to be making this up as I go. So feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. Welcome, Barris. And I will try to be watching the chat again. So to get us started here, for a 4 minifigure cockpit, I'm going to use a base for the cockpit that is 6 studs wide. Now, a minifigure, I'll grab one of our pilots here. A minifigure is wider than 2 studs, right? So I can't fit just 2 of them sitting next to each other. But what I'm going to try to do is find some jumper plates, which are pieces that can fit the minifigures so that they're half a stud off, which will allow me to fit two side by side in this 6 stud wide space. Okay, let's see here. I'm just pulling out some jumper plate options. Okay, cool. So I'm thinking of building this whole section here. Let me just get this light a bit closer. The black's a little bit hard to see, but I'm going to try to build this whole section here like 1 stud off, so that rather than being 6 studs wide, it'll be 5 studs wide, but it'll allow all 4 minifigures to fit. Okay, so this is what will be the floor of the cockpit, basically. But again, I'm going to try to then build on these jumper plates a 5 wide area. Welcome, Jaden. Okay, let's see what we have here. Some more jumper plates. Okay, cool. Okay. Actually, these jumper plates here, I just found a couple ones that'll work better. So I'm going to use, I'll pull these back a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to have a couple of 2x6 plates along here on which the minifigs will be able to sit. Now I'm going to check that that'll work here with one figure, and let's see. I'll grab a second minifig here. So, okay, you guys can see it's a tight fit, but they both do fit on those plates there, and the cockpit as well will be able to fit over them. So that's looking good. I'm now going to try to build it so that the second pair of minifigs can fit in here as well. I'm going to try to find a couple more jumper plates here. One moment. Okay, awesome. Here's a couple that are really nice because they're 3 studs wide, so they have 2 studs and will help keep this even more stable. So I'm just attaching all these jumper plates on just like so. And now when I put the minifigures back on, those jumper plates are on really nicely, and then I can stick on a couple more minifigs here. Let's see. Okay, just like that. There we go. So now we've got 4 minifigs on here, and we've got the whole crew of the ship. And now I just have to figure out how to attach this large cockpit piece, right? So when it comes to building around this, I'm going to try to build sideways on the sides, and I'm going to try to attach some plates just like this, kind of to fill in that the side along there. So let's quickly build up one of those sides as an example. Okay. So for example, if the side is something like this, then it will attach just like so on there. Hold on one moment. I'm just going to adjust this lighting a little bit to help make the black show up a bit better. Okay. That should help. Okay. So again, the sides are just like this, and I'm going to try to attach them sideways so that it'll fit over these minifigures really nicely. So I'll just quickly build up the second side here. Okay. Okay, I'll use these. All right, so now we're starting to get some sides going here, but we still have to attach them to this and this on here. So looking at this, in order for all of these minifigures to fit well in here, it certainly needs to be up quite a bit off the floor there, about 1 brick height. So I'm going to build this front section up a little bit so that we can see better where it will be attaching. So let's see, if I have a piece like right at this height, that looks pretty good to make it high enough off of the floor to fit the minifigures, but still relatively still small enough that the siding and stuff will work. All right, so let's go in here and find some more pieces to go around with that. I'm thinking I'll also attach the sides down here with these sideways pieces, so that, for example, we could have a side like this, which, as you can see, it fits the minifigure's arms in there, and then the cockpit can go on over all that, just like so, and match up pretty nice with that side there. So let's try to work both of these sides in like that. And by the way, these sides I'll probably add more to later on, finish them off. But for now, it's just good to kind of have them on so that we can get a better idea of how this is going to shape up. Okay, so both of those sides are attached for now. I'll probably add some more attachment points a little bit later on. But right now, let's keep finishing out the front. Okay. I'm going to build up a little bit around here in order to get this attached a little bit better. All right. So now that that's all pretty well held in place, as you can see, I'm leaving some space, some studs available there to attach like controls or something later on. But for now, I'm just going to build out this front here. Oh, you know what? Actually, having this piece going across here won't work, because then with like this, the windshield piece won't be able to go down far enough with it there. So for now, I'm going to remove that, but I can put a piece just across these four middle parts here. Oops. Okay, just like so. And that'll help keep that front section in here. All right, so now as to this front, I'm thinking kind of matching the shaping of this cockpit piece here, like having some angles coming out will look pretty good. So I'm going to try to find some pieces that will do that for us. Let's see. Okay. So here are some in dark gray I just found. These will work for the shaping of this front section. So that's starting to shape up there, and let's now see how this fits on. All right, that looks pretty cool there. We just need some thing to finish off this front area. Now we can maybe attach some lights onto it, just like so. And then in this central area, I generally like to add a little bit of like mechanical detailing, like a grill or something. So let's try adding a grill in there and seeing how that looks once we have this large piece on again. All right. I think that looks pretty cool myself. What do you guys think? Welcome, bagel lover. Do you guys think that front section there looks pretty good for the moment, at least? Actually, you know, I'll do one minor modification. I'll bring this grill forward by one stud, like one plate width, so that it lines up better with the front of these here and this. All right. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. All right. So now, as for the back section of this, we need to figure out how to finish this out and incorporate it into what will be the body of our ship. So currently, I'm thinking that we might have some large engines along the sides. I'm not sure how. Maybe two on either side. Maybe just one on either side. Just looking around, I'm thinking maybe of trying to incorporate this large disc into the back. But beyond that, I don't have any specific plans for the back. So let's see how this shapes out here. We need to continue these sides, as you can see, in order to fully cover where the minifigs are sitting. So In order to do that, I'd also like to attach some more connection points at the back here. So I'm going to put some plates on here to extend it back some more. Let's see. Okay. All right, so as you can see, that now fully covers where the minifigures are. And it sticks out slightly past the base we have going here because I'm going to use a piece that is 2 studs wide like this in order to attach it on. So as you can, I might have to switch this minifig's hairpiece out because it comes down on their back, which can be a little bit difficult to work in, but we can worry about that later. Let's see. Okay, we'll just do this again for the other side. Oops, hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, so now, I just realized I was attaching these onto where the minifigs are attaching, which was a half a stud within, like, inward, right? So that won't work. So instead, I'm going to try to deal with this extra part sticking out here behind the minifigs. I'm going to I don't know if you can see there. Okay, there are these, like, the plates that the minifigures are on extend too far out back. So I'm going to pop those off and see what I can do to take care of that issue. So rather than the minifigs being attached on a 2x6, well, what might be nice here is to use a 2x5, right? Except 2x5s don't exist. So I'm just going to use a 2x4 here. As you can see right there, I just attached a 2x4, okay, that's a good angle, onto those jumper plates, and I'll do that right here as well. And now, the minifigs, though, will stick out too far in the back. They won't sit all the way. The minifigs who are in the back won't sit down all the way on those. So what I'm going to do is now put a flat, I'll put this 1x6 plate. I could use a 2x6 plate, or actually I'm going to put in a longer plate back here to start extending into the more of the body of it. But then I'll put a flat piece. Let's see if I can find one. Okay, here we go. I'll put this flat 1x6 right back in here. Okay, right back there. So now when they sit down, the backs of their legs will be on that here, as you can see right there. So the half stud difference won't be an issue. All right, so now that I got that reconfigured, I can put these minifigures back in. And I want to put in some sort of like partition or divider between where they're sitting. So I'm gonna really quickly check in here and see if I have a piece that'll do that well. Or actually, I'll check in this bin here. Okay, here's a piece. So this like chair back type piece can go in right behind this minifigure right there. I'll put another one of those. I already had one of those sitting out here, right back behind this other minifigure. All right, now we've got those two, and we can put these two minifigures back in. And, you know, about that hairpiece, I'll just really quickly grab a better one from this bin right beside me. Okay. This piece here should work better because, as you can see, it doesn't like hang down very far behind the minifigure. So now I can, I'll put a 2x6 plate back in here so that these sideways pieces are at the correct level. And now, let me just readjust this slightly. Okay. Now I can, oh wait. So what I'm doing here, in case you're curious, is when the minifigure's hands are down, they actually stick out farther than when they're up. So for this to work, because they're very tight in there, their hands need to be up farther in order to be thin enough. So anyhow, now I can put these sideways pieces in back behind the minifigures, and the sides just click on right there. So now those sides are much better attached. And let's quickly try this cockpit piece on again. All right, so that's looking pretty good there. This cockpit piece can attach to studs back here, but so I'm going to build that up a little bit right back here on each side so that the cockpit can clip on nicely. But we have a little bit of extra space here, so I'm thinking of putting chair so let me just quickly fill that in with some bricks here. We'll just put in a couple black bricks to fill that in a bit. Just put some plates back in there as well. Oh wait, hold on. Need one more plate there. Okay, this dark gray one will work. So now we have the back section built up there, and we can start trying to get it to the right height for this for the windshield to attach. So basically, it needs to be a brick and one plate higher back along there. So I'm going to build it up. So in the corners, it needs to be that high, but in this more middle section here, like for example, in order to fit that ponytail there, it's going to be. I'm only going to build it up back here. So let's see. I'll stick. I'm going to put in some little cheese wedges here to finish out the cockpit behind these minifigures. And then, let's see. Grab one more. Okay. Now, back here, I can attach a 1x4 brick or a couple of 1x2s, as it seems here. And, all right, now we can see, yeah, I think it needs to be one plate higher, but let's just check. Okay, yeah, as you can see, it needs to be one plate higher there. So I'm going to find, what would be great here is a couple of like corner plates. So let's see if we can find some of those. Don't seem to be running across any of them. So instead, we can just use this piece, and then I will put in a couple 1x1s right here. Let's see, one here. And if I have another one, okay, then I'll maybe put in a couple of gray ones or black ones instead. Okay, here's a gray one. Here's a gray one. Okay, so now that cockpit piece attaches on right there. Oh, you know what? It's actually, I guess it was meant to be lower than that. Let's see. Okay, hold on. You know, what I'm noticing is that this bottom is a little bit, is becoming a little bit crooked here because there isn't much attaching it to the two pieces to each other. So I'm just going to add in a nice plate there on the bottom. I'm going to pull these minifigs out for the moment in order to finish attaching this cockpit piece. Okay. So, okay, now that that bottom is in there nice and hard. Oh! Okay, I see what is going on here. There is like a weird half stud difference in the sideways building. So in order to deal with that, I'm going to lift these up somewhat. So I'm going to switch what was going on back here rather than having the bricks above the sideways pieces. I'm going to put them below, and I think that should deal with the issue. Let's see. Hold on. I need to measure this really quickly. So this sideways brick here is 5 studs up. So we need 1, 2. Okay, yeah. So that should be correct. Let's try those on again and see whether that worked. Okay, it does work. Great. So I'll just do that on this other side as well. Luckily, that was a simpler fix than some I've run into over my building experience. And, I'll add a couple more plates up here to continue that angle we've got coming up along here. And, okay, now is where we need that extra stud. Okay, right in here. I'll add these two right on there and try this cockpit back on. All right, it fits perfectly now. Let's really quickly stick the minifigures back in there and check that it fits with them in there as well. All right, there's 2 of them. And all 4. So now if we stick this back on, it does indeed fit. We have all 4 minifigures right in there. So, all right. Oh, and this actually lines up very nicely right here. All right, so I'm thinking that's pretty good for the top of the cockpit. Let's smooth this part off a little bit. This is a lot of studs, and I'm not a huge fan of having a lot of exposed studs. So I'm going to try to use some curved pieces to smooth this off a bit along here on both sides. Let's see. Okay. And then we can add in some plates along there. And maybe even some angled pieces. I feel like that looks pretty cool. So let's do that on both sides. If I have another one of those here, okay, great. I do. All right, so we can keep developing that more a bit later on if we want. But for now, we have about 20 minutes left before what I'm hoping will be when I finish this up by. So I'm going to take a moment and consider options for the rest of the body and the back of the ship. So I'm thinking that having it kind of a little bit chunky back here, but then that being basically it is what makes the most sense. And my thought is to have these 2 larger engines that are kind of just recessed into the back of the body. So for example, let's say we have a couple of these pieces that are both system and Technic attached back here. I'll just grab a Technic pin. All right. So, for example, if this were something like our engine, then I would attach this back here somewhere like that. Or maybe I do it up by 1 more brick height, so that there were a couple of those on either side. And then we could have some interesting, not necessarily wings, but more like armoring sort of down over them as well. So I'm going to try to go about creating that armor back here. So to do that, I need some hinge pieces. We've got a nice hinge type thing here, another one here. So these are just nice hinge bricks, and I'm just going to pull out a couple more here. All right, here is another. So with these pieces, they have this nice hinge, so it's really simple to get some plates on there at an angle. Now with this back, I am also going to think some about what to do with this actual back section here. And I'm thinking of possibly creating some sort of part on this back where it kind of looks like there's windows, even though they won't actually be windows. It's all about just creating that feel, right? So let's see. Maybe if I take a couple of plates like this and then attach them together and put some of these pieces on them. I think something like that would look pretty interesting for the back, or at least like what will become the back. So that would just attach on right around there. And actually, I'm realizing this is a little bit too tall, so I would switch out this 4x6 for a 2x6 here. Let's see. Okay. And I might also switch this larger piece out for this piece that has a better angle for what I'm kind of envisioning this having. Let's see. Maybe that would look best there on the back. Yeah, I think that would fit pretty well there. So now the trick is getting plates angled correctly here. So in order to do that, I need to build this back up a little bit more and maybe out a little bit more too. I want it to have a little more heft to it, like go a little bit farther back before it just ends, because it's already going to be pretty short feeling. So I think having a little bit more length to it would be helpful. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm just going to attach this plate on here, and then I just have like a bunch of yellow bricks here that I'm just going to use to fill in this section. And this will all be covered up by these plates around the outside. I'll leave some places to attach what will become like the back, for example. So yeah, just building this up here. I'll grab a 1x1 to make sure these are at the same height. Cool. Just need another brick to go in there. Okay, I think that's a pretty good height back there. Now, again, these engines will attach out of these sides along here. So I need to make sure that there is a good spot for them to attach. So I'm going to use these bricks here that are like slope outward in order to attach those engines, because now the engines can just attach onto those bricks that are sloped outward, and I think that should be pretty good. So I'll just attach those a little bit more actually here. I will, rather than just having these all built here, I'll add in this longer yellow brick here that'll help keep those engines in place. And then, now I'm going to use a black piece back here because this will possibly be visible from the outside. And then we have the back basically all built up here. So, all right, let's see about attaching these slopes. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going to need okay. This will work perfectly, a large brick right here. And then I'm going to use these hinge pieces, just try to position these large slopes. Let's see. What would actually make this better is if each of these were a little bit wider. Right. Yeah, just like that. And I'll just attach those together. Okay. So, all right, now that I have those a little bit wider, we can try attaching them up here. And I think I'm going to pull them back by a stud, okay, just like that. Okay, that's looking pretty cool there. And now those line up quite well with the edges of the engines, I think, along here. But I'll just say I think that I need to create some slope in here so that it kind of lines up better, looks a bit cleaner along there. The windshield just pops off just like that, even with those there. So I think that's working fine. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try to attach some slopes along there. All right. All right, I'm going to use these two slopes here and see how it will look. So I'm just attaching these back in here. And I think these are at a little bit too hard of an angle. So rather than those, let's see how these slopes here will fit. Okay. Let's see. Oh wow. Okay, that actually fits really nicely. It might be a bit hard to see there, but that lines up like so well. So I'm just going to grab a couple more of those. I think I have some lying over here. All right. Great. So just putting a couple more of those down on this other side here. And reattaching this. That is definitely starting to shape up there. Now I'm thinking of trying to make these look kind of chunky along the side. So I'm going to attach some pieces, some sideways pieces. Let's see. Okay. Here's one. Okay. So let's see. Oh, actually, I just saw a piece in here that might look quite good. Try it out if I can find it again. All right, so I'm just going to use these. Let me see. Okay. Oh, these would work well too. So with these sideways pieces here, I am able to attach onto the sides some other interesting pieces. For example, these black pieces that are like ridged along there. I think those would look pretty cool along either side of these engines. All right, and now we've got the sides. So basically all we have left is the back. Now, I'm just thinking a bit about these engines here. I'm going to attach these two pieces on the inside of these larger pieces to just make it look a bit more interesting. Oops, fell off. Okay, hold on. All right, so using these longer Technic pins, I can situate these wheel pieces in there and attach those on just like so. Yeah, that definitely does look more interesting. Let's do that with the other side as well. All right, that's looking really great. I'm going to add just a little bit of detail to these engines up here. I mean, sorry, not the engines, the paneling up top. Let's see. Just like so. I'll do that on the other side as well. Let me just find one. Okay. There we go. All right, so now it's got some interesting markings along there. What do you guys think of that? Looking pretty cool. I'm also thinking maybe up here I can stick these on just to add a little bit more flair to it. Just like so. What do you guys think of that? Looks pretty cool. All right, awesome. So, let me just add a little bit of flat, like another plate below each of those. Oh, what is that in there? Awesome. So now we can move toward the back here, and I am thinking, let me reattach this bit here that had fallen off. Okay, so as for this back section, we basically need to just attach what we were thinking of having as the back here, but now it comes down too much. So I'm going to pop that off and change it up slightly. I'm thinking of actually having these run horizontal rather than vertical, which would, oops, hold on. Okay, there we go. And there, and then behind these. Okay, so now, as you can see, they're going horizontal. It'll be a little bit more compact in order to attach back here. Actually, it can be slightly longer than that. Let's see. I will drop these all down by one stud. Just like so. And then I'm going to just stick this piece back there, just because I think that could look pretty interesting. And let's attach that right on the back. All right, so that's definitely looking pretty cool. There's a little bit of space right on the sides, and I I see we've been going for an hour. I'm going to go just a little bit over in order to really help this just finish this out here. So in order to cover those up, let me see. I'm thinking of using these interesting pieces here that incorporate Technic, and you know they'll actually be a little bit too large. So instead, I'm just going to grab a couple more of these like Technic kind of pieces for one moment. Awesome. So now we can attach these on the back here. Let's see. I will stick in a couple of 1x2 bricks here. To help cover in this back section right here. You know, looking at this with just the yellow showing kind of looks like a house to me, like a Lego house. I feel like they're always yellow, and then the roof, just because of the slope of this. Okay, so now with those on there, just like that, I'm going to put some plates along the bottom, right there, and right there. Oh, actually, I need to stack up a few pieces in here so that it'll also help keep those sideways pieces in. All right, there we go on that side. This side as well. Oops. Okay, there we go. So now we have a more finished off look back here, especially once we attach this on. There's a little gap right in here though, so I am going to try to cover that up with just a couple of more bricks here. Let's see. Actually, let's see. I'm just actually going to slip a couple of sideways pieces in there, right there. And if I can pull that apart, okay, right on here. Okay, there we go. And then we can attach a couple of like grill pieces on there to give it a little bit of greebling. For those of you who may not know, a greeble is just something that makes it look more realistic, more like it could actually work. So like engine bits, for example. All right, and now sticking the back on once again, we have a much more finished out look, which is really nice. And you know, I'll slip in one other piece back here, which is this sideways piece here, which I think it will help connect the back. Whoops. I'll stick that back on. All right. So now, yeah, it does connect to the back there. Awesome. So I'll put, you know, maybe like something just to make the back look a little bit more interesting there. And now we are essentially done. However, I'm thinking it would be like really cool looking to have these sticking out the back of the engine. So I'm just going to take like 1 minute to really quickly attach these using some round pieces, just like this. Oh, okay. Here's one. Now I'll grab a couple of Technic pins. There's one. And there is the second. And now I can actually put in some blue pieces to just make it look a little bit more like the thrust right there. I'll do that with the other one really quickly. And that finishes out the engines, so we can attach those right on there. And on the other side as well. And I honestly think that looks really awesome there. Now, I would like to very briefly fill in this top section here, because you can probably see there's this like 1 stud wide gap along there. And to do that, I'm going to grab a couple more of these grill pieces, as well as these bricks, and I'm going to pop this off to make it easier. I'll slide those right there, and I'll create that same assembly for the other side. If I can find another grill piece. I think there should be one. Let's see. We could use dark gray grills as well. Let me see. You know, rather than having these 2 grill pieces up front in green, I'm going to use one for this back section. And in that front area, I'm going to put in dark gray grills. Got a couple sitting out over here. That'll probably look a little bit cleaner in front. And then, just to fill in this little gap we have here, I'm just going to put in some pieces that look like tech up here. Reattaching that, it looks much cleaner. And I'll actually just put this piece right on top. All right, that is basically it. Pick like 1, 2 more feet just right along these sides. Like here and here on the other side. And let's see, maybe a little bit of green down along the bottom there to finish those out with these like shield pieces. It creates a pretty cool angle. Let's see. I'll just put these flat pieces right along here. And in the, okay, and you know, I'll move these pieces rather than being right up there, just a little bit lower. And I think that does it for the sides now. So I will go ahead and reattach those engines, and we are officially done. There is the finished spacecraft. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a ton of fun building this. It fits 4 minifigures as we were hoping. It has some really nice detailing with some engine parts all around, some cool thrusters back here. And I would be really excited to try flying around in this spaceship myself. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later. Bye, guys. Oh, I'll be doing this next week. And we'll see what it's about. It might be more spaceships. It might be something else. I'll have the link out soon, so keep an eye out for that, and see you guys later. Bye.